keyboard solo, but all the notes from Commercial Genius.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. I'm J.E. Skeets, here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby. Hey, yo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Hello to everyone on YouTube. Take a second, hit the like button, subscribe. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. My pumpkin pie pick-em payoff continues. It's a whole lot of peas there. I hopefully didn't pop. Just to give you an update, I know we have a photo actually, JD, of where we left off after day one of eating pumpkin pie. And there it is. Not a bad dent. Nora pointed out you went with the Big Bird strategy. And I was like, what? It's like, it sort of looks like Big Bird. It's like, yes. Oh yeah, it sort of does. So I got to continue to take down this Costco pumpkin pie, all, 3.6 pounds of it. Didn't feel great yesterday, I'm not going to lie to you guys.
A lot of custard.
A lot of custard, but I think I learned some things from yesterday. Coffee, out. It was not pairing well with the coffee. Going straight water here today. And of course, we're going to not have to worry about the middle of the pie as much as some of the crust now.
Sure,
which, you know, I think I like more.
The water will come in handy.
Can't even get this off.
Be
Here we go.
dry.
So I think we're going to try and, get to, here.
Oh, you got a plan here.
I like that you use the whipped cream as your borders for what I'm going to eat.
Border here, and then we will make our way across the plains, okay? So that's the plan for day two of the pumpkin pie payoff.
Let's go.
Let's go. Hopefully you feel better after day two. I don't know why you would, but hopefully you do.
And your body's going to be craving it after day two.
I guess the thing I keep struggling with is, do I eat breakfast or not in the morning? I'm a big breakfast guy. You know I love my eggs.
This guy loves his eggs.
I didn't yesterday, and I didn't once again today. But then the weird part is I didn't have another piece of food yesterday until 4 o'clock when I had an early dinner. That can't be healthy. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I should slip in an egg in the morning. But anyway, day two.
Into the pie?
One egg.
Oh, wow, put an egg on the pie.
Just a simple 1 egg breakfast.
Okay, well, as I get ready for my first bite here, let's get into last night's games, and then we're going to check the polls and obviously continue our new December pick'em battle. But let's start with the Timberwolves blowing out the Lakers 109-80 behind Randall, Gobert, and some really good defense here. And I know we'll get into the Lakers. Oh, damn it, I dropped my piece. That was a good piece, too.
Yeah, you had a nice scoop.
But let's start with that because we had a bunch of blowouts last night, but that's the one that's sort of juicy from the way the Lakers are struggling and maybe the Wolves turning the corner a little bit defensively.
Yeah, I think there's some immaculate vibes going on with the Timberwolves. You saw Rudy Gobert in the fourth quarter fake that dribble handoff and go in past his fellow Frenchman, Armel Traoré, for a dunk. I forgot that Armel Traoré was a fellow Frenchman, but he is. On the
I'm
Lakers.
usually thinking of him all the time, just off the top of the head.
Yeah.
Where's he from? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, but maybe they don't play defense, but he just let Rudy Gobert. I mean, in France, do you have dribble handoff? Anyways, it doesn't matter. The point is, that was terrible defense on Rudy Gobert. But Rudy Gobert got to the rim, and Anthony Edwards was the first guy off the bench to cheer for him. And that's something he has been doing even during the losing streaks for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's been obviously extremely vocal. Hey, we're soft. We're not playing hard. But at the same time, every single time that somebody on his team does something well, he is off the bench and cheering for him, just like when Terrence Shannon threw it down a dunk late in this fourth quarter. He was up first. He is being vocal. He's putting on that leadership onto his shoulders, and he's trying extremely hard. Yeah, and you mentioned the defense. The rotations were out there last night. Gobert out there getting the first action, and behind him. So they're trying to cover every second, third action. And they held the second consecutive opponent to under 100. Defense jumps up to 7th in the NBA. So they're 1.6 points per possession, worse than last season. It ain't all that big when you think about it that way. And some guy who was talking about the defense after the game, Dante DiVincenzo, he's getting a little bit of cruel criticism. Hey, you're not playing all that well. He's not shooting well. I think one thing that we do miss with DiVincenzo that we saw in this game is going well. He's playing point guard way more than he basically ever has in his career. He's a backup point guard on this team. He's playing the majority of his minutes at point guard. He did it as a rookie, but that was a long time ago. So that's something he's had to do. He had 9 helpers in this game. He was getting out there on the fast break as they kicked the Lakers' butt 20-7 in the fast break. So their bench was awesome. Him, and Reed performing. Well, Anthony Edwards just had a quiet one, and they're good enough. Defensively was the big thing here for me. They're starting to come together. 500, tough schedule coming up, but it does look like they're starting to turn a corner a little bit.
Yeah, last night was tabbed as AE1 night there in Minnesota because of Edwards' new colorway for his very popular shoe, but he had a really quiet night, Trey. This is what Tass is saying. It was all these other guys. DiVincenzo was great. Gobert was solid. Randall, it depends when you're looking at him. I think it looks awesome sometimes. And then really, what the hell are you doing the next possession? But it was a team effort here. And maybe they have sort of turned the corner a little bit after Ant really called them out not that long ago, and now they're back to 500 at least. But what jumped out to you last night?
I'm going to need to see more than 2 wins to say that they've completely turned the corner, considering how bad it was for the Timberwolves to have Edwards coming out and say, A, we're soft, B, everybody is playing for themselves. Not great to hear from a guy who's taking his first real leadership steps, I think, this season. But this is awesome for the vibes. You saw Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert having fun together. They were cooking the Lakers off the dribble. Ridiculous stuff. This is just a nice win for the Timberwolves. I think a really poor performance for the Lakers. They looked tiny compared to a Timberwolves team that JJ mentioned post-game. They basically start 3 7-footers in McDaniels, Gobert, and Randall's. I mean, he's close, but at least Naz Reid comes in and gives you some defensive intensity at least. The leading scorer for the Timberwolves last night scored 18 points in Julius Randle. It was all the defense that won the game here, which is why the Lakers are a little more interesting to talk about, I think, based on the game last night, because they're playing terrible right now. Yep. So good couple of wins against the LA teams for Minnesota. You like to see them getting on the same page, certainly, but I think they still need to improve to really get back to where they were last season.
One thing I liked was the Wolves using at the beginning of the second and fourth quarters the lineup of Gobert, Reed, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, DiVincenzo, and then Conley. And that lineup played really well in this game and had a really good net rating and is really solid. So maybe there's something there that, Finch has unlocked a little bit. But yeah, it was against a Lakers team who's in a back-to-back situation. We'll give them that. It was their 5th game in 7 nights, and they did look exhausted and sort of rolled over and died. And LeBron James, they're not now talking about whether the Lakers and Redick and LeBron are going to reconsider LeBron's idea of playing all 82 games here amid this crazy shooting slump, because LeBron once again couldn't hit a three-pointer last night, and man, he was really missing last night. I mean, brick off the backboard, he airballed his last one. 0 for 19 LeBron from 3, over the last 4 games. That's a slump he has not been in since basically his rookie days. What do you think about the idea of maybe you should give him some rest moving forward here and not try and check off, I played all 82 games in, my, 22nd season? 21st? Yeah. I can never keep track anymore.
22, jeez. Yeah. He's tied the all-time high of Vince Carter with 22 seasons. I haven't heard JJ Redick really contemplate a question like this. When he was asked about it after the game, he just basically thought about it for a bit and pondered and put some air through his lips and thought about it and said, yeah, it's probably a good idea that we sit him a little bit. I mean, the 5 and 7, they're flying from Utah to Minnesota on a back-to-back. I don't care how much work you put into your body. Those videos going around of LeBron working out that core hours before the game, I mean, it's obviously going to wear him down. And yeah, he's missed his last 19 threes, but he's human, and back-to-backs suck for everybody. For every 39 and almost 40-year-old and every 27-year-old, you just don't get better. So yeah, I think it would work best for him. He also needs some guys playing a little bit harder defensively. I think that's what it comes down to, is that this defense stinks and that they're nowhere close to anything like a championship team. That's the problem.
The Lakers are saying our defense is good now.
How?
They're saying our defense has improved in the past couple of weeks. They're like mid. They're like 15th over the last 10 games. It's the offense that's struggling. Literally, JJ and LeBron are saying we're working too much on defense. In practice, we work so much on defense that our offense stinks now, and it does, but LeBron needs to take a rest. Absolutely. I said last week that he looks old after that Suns game when Bradley Beal got him on a chase down block. Since then, 16 points on 18 shots against the Spurs, 12 points on 13 shots against the Thunder, 27 points, that's a lot, took 28 shots against the Jazz, and then last night, 10 points on 16 shots against the Timberwolves. Like you mentioned, Skeets, 0 for 19 from 3. Has there been a stretch of 4 games in LeBron's career where he takes more shots than points scored? I doubt it. It probably hasn't happened. You look at the on-off numbers for LeBron, and it's kind of unbelievable. He's been the worst player on the Lakers from an on-off standpoint. They're minus 16 points per 100 possessions worse when LeBron is playing, minus 10.2 when he's on the court, plus 5.9 off the court. According to Basketball Reference, Anthony Davis's numbers are similar, but not quite as exaggerated. So part of it is that the Lakers starters just aren't good enough. But also, LeBron looks like he needs some rest. He needs to pull a Luka, get a minor injury here, and then get his legs back under him. And right now, the schedule's kind of nice. They play at Miami, at Atlanta, then they've got Portland, and at Sacramento twice. That takes you through next Saturday. If he has a sprained thumb today, rest for 5 or 6 games, take a week off. That could be beneficial to the Lakers. The difference is that the Mavs went 5-1 when Luka Doncic was sitting. I don't think the Lakers could pull that off.
That's the thing here, and that's this whole part of like, okay, maybe he has this on his like bucket list. I want to play all 82 when I turn 40 years old, obviously coming up here. But okay, but he's not going to be, at times at least, the most dedicated on the defensive end. It's been a while actually since that. Obviously maybe the most athletic from game to game. He still has it in bursts, but he is nearly 40. That means everybody else has to play hard. And there was a moment in this game, I don't know if you guys caught it on playback last night, where Anthony Edwards took a jumper, and it was contested by LeBron, but Ant took a jumper, he missed, and Anthony Davis is down there, and you can see it. He's like, he doesn't know who to box out. He's like, crap, Conley's right there, Rudy Gobert's right there, and Rudy ends up grabbing it, gets the ball. I forget if he put it in or he got fouled. Anthony Davis is like yelling at Connect and D'Angelo Russell and the rest of the Lakers, like, I got 2 guys down here. Like, somebody help me out on the glass here. Like, he visibly frustrated. Like, somebody help. And they're just like, sitting there, they're just twiddling their thumbs. So, like, some frustration showing there, because that's just effort and obviously a little dedication on the defensive end. Yeah. So nobody else giving it. But I'm with you. It's like, that's a perfect game last night when there's no effort from anyone. Well, that's a game LeBron should sit. I mean, even if it is a schedule loss, right? Which, again, I sort of went through, it probably was to some extent, but now you're just wasting, a big game like that. And he played a bunch of minutes the night before against Utah in a game they just pulled out. Like, if they had lost that game, that would have been, 6 losses out of their last 7? The one where Will Hardy called a timeout. Maybe Sexton would have won. So they're lucky they got that one, but crazy.
Yeah, defensively, obviously they're missing pieces, and we'll get to whether or not they should make a trade, because sitting at 24th in defensive rating ain't going to be anywhere close to a championship-type team. That just doesn't happen in the NBA. And I thought they were supposed to get rid of 5 and 7, 5 games in 7 nights. I thought it was supposed to be done. 4 games in 5 nights is gone. There are none of those. But yeah, I think they should be tired after the flight from Utah. And I know it's all an excuse, but yeah, you saw it across the board. You saw a stinky AD. Like LeBron, AD doesn't really get ridiculed when LeBron is stinky, but both of them combined, they weren't hitting shots. I mean, they're hitting like 26% of their shots last night. 80 points for all of them. Defensively, they weren't there. They want Jared Vanderbilt. He ain't coming back for the foreseeable future. Max Christie just hasn't been that guy. They're trying Cam Reddish. it all ain't working. Nothing's working. Really.
That's the problem, is that they can't sit LeBron. They really can't, even though he hasn't been all that good this season, because who's going to play instead of LeBron and have a chance? In his first 10 games, a 25% usage rate. That was awesome. It's the lowest of his career. Since then, over a 30% usage rate. No surprise, his shot has completely abandoned him. He was shooting 44% from three the first couple of weeks of the season, 25% since, turning the ball over a ridiculous amount for LeBron. 5.5 turnovers, basically, in his second 11 games after like a standard 2.8 prior to that. And honestly, like, will JJ be able to get LeBron to sit down? I watched starting five. The minutes restriction lasted one game last year, and LeBron was coming off the court saying, I'm never doing that again. So we'll see. Yeah,
we will. A fun thing, a little trivia question off of LeBron going 0 for 19 here over this 4-game stretch. Can you name the last player in NBA history to attempt more three-pointers over a 4-game span without a make? Okay, it was 21 missed threes over a 4-game span. The year was December 2020. Now, this is very difficult. I'm going to give you a couple hints. Guy's never been an all-star, but maybe he's in consideration this year, but he plays on a sort of bad team, so that's going to be tough.
That was weird because that was the first month of the season that year. COVID year.
Right.
Came in cold, huh?
December 26th to the 31st. What a way to end the year. Not hitting a three. He's playing really well this year. We talked about him actually yesterday. We slipped him in onto yesterday's show.
Who did we talk about yesterday?
Especially when he's in a certain country.
Oh, RJ.
RJ Barrett, yeah. Had a stretch of 4 games where he missed 21 threes. That's from Justin at Statitudes. That was a fun little note there.
Did you see RJ Barrett not like Michael Grange's question about his home road splits? Grange asked him, how about those home road splits? What's going on with you playing on the road? He said, come on, man. I just had 2 good games on the road. What up with that, Grangey?
I did see that Darko said he needs to know that people can watch the game at home when they're playing on the road.
That was very funny.
That was funny.
That is very funny.
The idea that RJ's like, well, there's no Canadians here. Guess they're not
Nobody's watching
tonight. Yep. All right. Other action. You with us, JD? You're there. Okay, good. Other action last night. We had the Hawks beating the Pelicans 124-112 to win to extend their win streak to 4 games. Giddy triple-double as the Bulls got past the Nets 128-102. And then Jaylen Brown 29 points, Pritchard 25 off the bench. Celtics passed the Heat 108-89. All sort of blowouts here, so not the most exciting games, but any takeaways, TK, from those 3?
Well, Matas Buzelis just won a spot on the NBA.com rookie ladder last night. He didn't win Rookie of the Year, but 20 points on 7 of 10 shooting. His 7 makes were 4 threes and 3 dunks. That's awesome. 5 rebounds, an assist, and a couple of blocks. He's only the 12th rookie to have a 20-point game so far this season. I think it's only happened 25 times. We've played 150 games or something like that. So far, there's only been 25 games where a rookie has scored 20 or more points. The last 5 on NBA.com's rookie ladder last week were Yves Missi, who also had a nice game last night, been playing really well, Alex Sarr, Zach Edey, who hasn't played in a couple of weeks, Bub Carrington, and Tristan Da Silva. So I better see Buzelis there at number 10 last night. Big win for the Bulls over the Nets. You don't beat us twice.
I got to say the Hawks getting up to 500 at this point of the season is a big win. And the young guys looking good out there. Zachary Reese-Sachet, first couple of minutes of the game, no hesitation, 3. He had a nice turnaround in the post, and then he had the dribble going up to the three-point line. It was cut off by a guard, Javonte Green, goes behind his back after a little guard is on him and gets to the rim. Come on, that's good stuff. The young guys across the board for the Hawks, there's some belief in there. Jalen Johnson has been awesome for this team. 20, nearly 10 boards per game and 5.5 assists. Those 5.5 assists, it's great. He often tries, and including last night, to get a little fancy schmancy with those passes, and they don't go well. He's got to bring the turnovers down, but also Kobe Bufkin. I mean, 4 baskets off the bench, not forced whatsoever, just doing great stuff. Pick and roll player on his back. He looked like an old point guard, doing really well, slicing to the hoop and getting to the hoop before I think it was the third quarter ended, and Trae Young got up off the bench and cheered for him. And I think we aren't talking a lot about Trae Young sort of reducing his role a little bit, reduced his shots this season. He's shooting his fewest shots since his rookie year, also taking his usage percentage, I should say, at the lowest of his career as well. He's trying to get everybody else involved. So a 500 team at this point of the season is a big win for this Atlanta Hawks, because they can just, I know we're talking about Dyson Daniels being great defensively and DeAndre Hunter off the bench, but these other dudes playing really, really well. Hey, it's a win, man. For this team to be close to 500, even throughout the entire season, it's a win.
They have to be close to 500. That's their thing.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought up Jalen Johnson's stats, because when we went to Friday's Hawks-Cavs game, the NBA Cup action, I was with my buddy Grish, your buddy Grish, our buddy Grish. He could not believe Jalen Johnson's stats. He was actually like blown away that the guy was averaging 20, 10, and let's call it 5.5. I mean, those are damn good numbers, and he was completely shocked by that. And I was like, oh yeah, he's eclipsed 20 points per game. That's pretty impressive. And even the 10 boards and the assist, which was some turnovers, but he's been awesome and is one of the he's a young guy. He's like 22 years old. So he's got, I don't know if he's on that ESPN top 25 players under the age of 25. Did he make the crack or make that list? But
He should have.
hopefully he did. Yeah, because he looks great. I just want to
He'll be 23
soon.
Oh, the day after. Or is it the day after the NBA Cup final? So if they can win the NBA Cup, that guy will be
what a celebrating
celebrating.
in Vegas. That'd be
500
fun.
grand to blow on your birthday?
Oh yeah, right. What a birthday gift. Good point. Do it for Jalen Big Johnson so he could hit the tables in Vegas.
I'll also say this. I was surprised to see, I was looking at some tweets from Will Guillory last night, and underneath every tweet from Will Guillory, our Pelicans beat writer here for The Athletic, every Pelicans fan wants Willie Green fired. They're saying it's time for him to go. And look, the Pelicans have a ton of injuries. They've had a ton of injuries since Willie Green has been the coach, but they're also the worst second half team in the league right now. This one was close through a couple of quarters, but you only have to play the third and the fourth quarter, and honestly, usually just the fourth against the Pelicans right now. So if they need a scapegoat, I think it would have to be Willie Green, because who else is it going to be? But that would be a tough way to go.
Oh, yeah. It's like he's looking around.
Like, what did
It's
I
like
do?
nobody here. There's nobody playing. I'm relying on a guy named Boston. No, it's not his first name. It's his last name. And this guy's got to be like our lead guy. Yeah, he's in a tough spot. But I didn't know there was that sort of uproar here from Pelicans fans.
It was trending for me. Willie Green.
Damn.
What?
Jesus. I did want to touch briefly on the Celtics crushing the Heat, just to give Payton Pritchard some love. This guy's on fire right now. He became the first NBA player this season to score 20 or more bench points in 4 straight games. If you go look at his averages, do you like to call him Fast PP or P Rabbit more? I bounce back and forth.
PP for me. I've never said P Rabbit.
P Rabbit. I like P Rabbit. Makes me laugh. But anyway, Fast PP, which is also very weird, averaging 24.5 points per game in less than 31 minutes off the bench over that 4-game stretch. He's shooting 49% from 3 on over 5 made threes a game, and he's chipping in 5 boards, 3 assists, a steal, and he never turns the ball over. Like, never. He's got like 3 turnovers in the last 4 games, so he's just been awesome. I know we'll get into maybe some of the award races at the quarter pole mark of the season. Probably the favorite to win 6th Man of the Year with how just consistently he's played off the bench.
Preseason, Jaylen Brown was the one who said, if we play against a team like Detroit, we're going to go to Payton Pritchard. He's just going to dominate. They did this against the Heat. That's a problem for Miami.
Yeah.
Pritchard's great. They also call him post-up P because he's got a decent post game for being 5 feet 8 inches tall or whatever it is. But the Heat were not competitive at all last night against the Celtics. They're 2-6 against 500 teams so far this season. They beat the Timberwolves by 1 point. They beat the Mavericks with no Luka Doncic in overtime. So the point differential against 500 teams, it's got to be pretty bad. They lost by 20 plus last night. Terry Rozier off to a brutal start this season. 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting last night. He's shooting 40% from the field, scoring only 12 a game. They moved him to the bench, which has helped Jimmy Butler. He's getting a lot more opportunity with the ball, but Rozier, the trade for him has not worked out yet for the Heat, I don't think. And then Bam Adebayo is really not doing much offensively. He's 15 points a game, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, like decent numbers, but 42% from the field. And that includes shooting 33% from 3. That's nice, but it means you're shooting 44% from 2. The Heat take like no layups. They're all mid-range jumpers, and they just look like a team that is kind of beat from the start of it. Like, they got to have a great 3-point shooting night from a Duncan Robinson, from a Tyler Hero. Bam needs to get to the free throw line. Jimmy Butler has to get to the free throw line. Like, things have to lay out perfectly for the Heat to actually be competitive here. And that's not what I was expecting going into the season. But they've been one of the biggest disappointments through the first quarter of the season.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to find a tweet. I can't locate it right now, but we were talking about disgruntled fan bases. I believe it was Hot Hoops, so apologies if it wasn't. I thought I saw it last night. Like, wondering if, like, oh my, have we been Hassan Whiteside again with the Bam Adebayo contract extension? I was like, whoa, it's gotten that bad. But he has had a terrible start to the season, and in times where they've needed him to step up too, if Jimmy's not playing or whatever, and he hasn't been able to do so. Yeah, they are one of the more disappointing squads. And you got the Jimmy Butler player option next year. Like, what's going to happen with that? Like, is this the last year of Jimmy Butler with the Heat? Or is he just going to pick up $52 million?
It's tough to turn down.
Right. And is there any trade that can happen? I don't know. It's starting to feel like it's coming to the end, though.
It's a strange year. Like, you saw what Jaime Jaquez did last year. Lots of love for him. This year he's gone to the bench, and there's basically been no talk about him. That's been strange. I thought that was a strange move from Eric Spoelstra. They're trying Terry Rozier as the starter. That hasn't worked out. We'll swap those two. I feel like Rozier would be a better six-man in that situation. Speaking of six-man, a guy who is a surprise, we've talked about him, DeAndre Hunter as a six-man, because his stats over his last 4 games coming off the bench, woohoo! Averaging 22 points. He crashed through 20, 3 of those 4 games, had 18 the other one. 57% from the floor, 54% from 3. Who is this guy? He is a different player coming off the bench for the first time in his career since he was drafted in 2019. This is his first year coming off the bench predominantly. It's good.
It's working right now.
As long as he stays healthy,
Making shots.
which hasn't happened since 2019,
right?
Since he was drafted, basically, his whole career.
Well, that's a bunch of the blowouts from last night. So let's get to something maybe a little more fun. We're bringing back Check the Polls. It has been a minute since we've done Check the Polls, and this is where we throw up a poll to all of our No Dunks fans. We did this one on Twitter/X yesterday, left it up for 13, 14 hours, got close to 1,000 votes in most of these, so we'll go through them. We can debate whether you agree with the consensus or you would pick something else, stuff like that. First one, which team most needs to make a trade? That was the poll. And we had on this poll 3 teams and then the option of other. But we went Lakers, Nets, and Warriors. And I don't know how many votes came in after the Lakers' sort of abysmal performance last night in Minnesota, but they take this poll getting 41.4% as the team sort of most needing to make a trade. How did you vote, Tass, or were you surprised by these results?
I agree with these people. I'm in agreement. Usually I don't. But I'm in agreement that the Lakers got to do something here, being how bad they are across the board defensively. I brought up Jared Vanderbilt. They had hoped at the beginning of the season, I'm sure JJ Redick hoped, that the talk about him coming back at the beginning of the season would happen. It obviously has not, and he ain't come back till at very least 2025, because him and AD, they're good together defensively. When those two have played since Jared Vanderbilt's got there as a duo, a 108.4 defensive rating. That's damn good when those two are together. They would be perfect together. But will that guy ever play? They're 24th in defensive rating. Most teams that win are, a top 5 defense. The Nuggets were one aberration where they were like a middle of the pack defense and they still won the championship. But there was hope that Max Christie would be that guy. What are they going to do? Are they going to get KCP back all of a sudden? I mean, they really have to make a move for them to get better defensively. Because I think there's other teams there that the Golden State Warriors are willing to do it. They're definitely willing to do it. But I think the Lakers need to do it.
So what could the Lakers realistically trade? I mean, who are the players? D'Angelo Russell, I guess, for contract reasons.
They would do that.
$19 million expiring contract.
Just play any of our podcasts from the past 3 transaction cycles. It's the same guys.
It's D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura.
Will they part with Austin Reeves? That's going to be the question.
That's the
You
one.
can throw Gabe Vincent in there, too, as an expiring.
This guy stinks, guys.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's good. Talk to him. He's his agent. He's his publicist.
Yeah, no, Reeves is the guy that would get something back, and they haven't been willing to get something back. I mean, they need just a guy who plays D.
Well, better than all 3 of those those names are the 2 unprotected first-round picks that they
Yes.
do have and
Yeah.
could offer in trades in, 29 and 31? And I guess you could then do pick swaps as well, obviously, around that. So maybe that's something. I saw Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype right yesterday. I love saying that guy's name. That you're supposed to keep an eye on Los Angeles potentially dangling Gabe Vincent and then future second-round picks to try and land Wizards center Jonas Valancuinas, who's a coveted Lakers target.
I actually love that. Jonas Valancuinas has played in every play-in tournament, and I think that would ensure him keeping the streak alive.
Keep the streak alive.
Yeah.
The
Lakers this season are 12-9, minus 53 points on the season. Point differential. Last season, through 21 games, 12-9. Plus 49. They are the exact same team. My guess is that they were 12-9 this season before because it's been the same roster for this entire time since they did the deal to bring in D'Angelo Russell. It's like we start him, he does good sometimes, we put him to the bench, thinks he's going to be traded, starts playing well again. Then guess what? It doesn't work out. So yeah, the Lakers absolutely need to make a trade, and the Bulls are the team they should trade with because any of their 3 trade guys would help. Vooch, LaVine, or Lonzo Ball would be a huge get for the Lakers at this point. So pay up with the picks. But I personally voted for the Warriors because they're really showing their warts. I think since DeAnthony Melton has gone down, it just looks hard for Steve Kerr to find balance with this lineup. Nobody plays on both sides of the ball. Basically nobody, except for Wiggins. I mean, Steph Curry's an offensive player. Draymond Green's a defensive player. Luckily, those two combined, they can actually score. But when Steph Curry is on the floor, the Warriors play at a league-best offense, 122 offensive rating. When he sits, 107. That's 27th in the league. They need somebody else who can help score, and I think it's got to be Jonathan Kuminga as the guy to go. He just doesn't really fit on this team. Kerr hasn't been able to find him a consistent spot in the rotation because he doesn't trust him to rebound and play defense with the small lineups, and also then he can't score with the big lineups because the shooting isn't there. They didn't come to an agreement on an extension, but he's still a guy that I think would be intriguing to other people around the league as a young player who could maybe get you 20 points per game if you give him a little bit more of responsibility. So personally, I think if the Warriors are trying to contend, they've got a good defense, but their offense just really lacks when it's not Curry out there. And honestly, Curry and Green playing together is kind of a cheat code as well, just because Draymond knows how to get Steph going. But they got to figure out somebody else who can score.
Yeah, the guys that they're rumored to be getting, Michael Scotto as well. He mentioned Kyle Kuzma could be a guy for them. I know he ain't a scorer, but he helped win a championship, and he was very nearly traded last year to the Mavs, where apparently he declined the trade going to the Mavs. He said no, and then they made the Gafford and PJ Washington deals, so that worked out extremely well for them. But Kyle Kuzma on this team would help. But yes, it sure seems like they are not willing to sign Jonathan Kuminga, and they've always been willing to make a trade. They tried for Lauri Markkanen. They tried for Paul George mere months ago, and so it makes sense that they'd go for somebody that would help Steph right here, right now.
To just pivot quickly back to the Lakers, I do wonder, like, if they're like doing their whole whiteboard there, and they're like, "What's our most glaring weakness? Like, what could we do in a trade to try and help this? Like, is it to shore up like their lack of depth at center? Like, so is it a move for JV or maybe even Pirtle or someone like that? Is it fix their perimeter defense, which is non-existent? And I get some of it being injuries, but like Finney-Smith maybe can you get Marcus Smart? Would he help there? Or is it this big sort of move, get the splashy, bigger name as your third guy? Zach LaVine, maybe Brandon Ingram, probably not, but like Voochie Baby, if you consider him a star too. Would you give up, as a Bulls fan, Zach LaVine for D'Angelo, Rui, and Vincent, and then draft compensation? I guess you're probably going to just get to whatever the draft picks are. Let's talk with these guys, or no?
Yeah. That was going to cost the Bulls to get off the LaVine and Vooch contracts in the summer, and now they're positive assets at the very least. Right. So I would do any move.
Yeah, and then you could. I think the numbers work in terms of their contracts. Basically, Vooch for D'Angelo Russell, and then some sort of draft compensation. And something else that you'd probably explore.
If you want to fix the defense, I'd go for Vooch.
Okay, well, there you go. Let's go to our next poll. Sticking with trade talk, because some buzz yesterday, I guess was from Mark Stein, about the Utah Jazz wanting to maybe trade some of their vets. So the poll was, which Utah Jazz player has the most trade value? And the three options, probably should have put Walker Kessler in here as well, but, not as much of a vet. But Jordan Clarkson was your option, John Collins, and then Colin Sexton wins the vote with 56.6% TAS of the most trade value. Do you believe that, of those three guys at least?
I wonder if Colin Sexton wins this just because he had a moment at the end of the game against the Los Angeles Lakers, or like a recent one. He made the headlines. I haven't heard Jordan Clarkson. I mean, Jordan Clarkson made that nice pass to John Collins for the win over the Dallas Mavericks. So I was going to say I haven't heard of either of them. But I will say, yeah, Sexton's a good scorer in this league. But which team needs a bench punch is the question if you're trading for Colin Sexton. I think John Collins is more of a seamless fit across the board. I think he can go anywhere and help. He does everything. He fights defensively. He can shoot the three a little bit. He's big, athletic. He's young enough. He can help defensively. He can help. He's just more of a plug and play type of guy. So I think it's them. I think all three of these guys are signed for basically the same amount of years, although there's a player option for John Collins in there. But Clarkson is the oldest. He's banged up at times. He's not having a great season. He's the cheapest, I guess. But I think Collins is the one that will fit seamlessly anywhere for me.
How did you vote with this one, TK?
I had a hard time with this one. I kind of wish Walker Kessler in there because I would have definitely voted for him. I'm not really interested in any of these guys from the Jazz. I think Clarkson is maybe the guy I would choose. He could Lonnie Walker you a quarter, win a quarter. He's 32 years old, though. I'm with you, John Collins. Like, maybe he's a nice backup big for somebody, but you want to pay him $26 million and trade something for a backup big? That doesn't make sense. As for Sexton, never played in the playoffs. I think he's only good on bad teams. Kind of like when he started starting a couple of seasons ago was when the Jazz really started falling off. He was great last year. They were bad last year. Look what's happening again. His worst season with the Cavs was when they were the best. Like, something's not adding up here. I personally wouldn't trust him. I'd rather go for the guys on the Nets. Dennis Schroeder, I think, is a better get. Cam Johnson, DFS. I'd play a tiny premium for those guys over anybody from the Jazz.
I will say John Collins has been on a bit of a tear since going back into the starting lineup, at least numbers-wise. Averaging 20 and 10, shooting 56% from the floor and 40% from three. So he's been good in that starting role. I guess I saw Scotto saying at Hoops Hype about Walker Kessler that the asking price still very high from Danny Ainge there.
No way.
Wants at least 2 first-round picks to get Walker Kessler away from the Jazz. So maybe these other guys are more realistic in terms of what it would take. And, of course, we don't have Lauri Markkanen on this list. He can't be traded until the offseason at the earliest after signing his contract extension. When he did, because of the collective bargaining agreement rules. So, yeah, look, the Jazz have definitely leaned into playing their young guys and, as a result, going to be one of the worst teams in the league. So it's pretty reasonable to consider them trading one, if not two, maybe all three of these guys to get something back for the future. Next one here, MVP. We asked the people, who's your MVP right now? Only gave you 4 options, didn't even throw an other on there. Basketball Reference has these guys as the top 4 candidates. So we gave you Giannis, SGA, Jokic, and Tatum. And Jokic still sort of runs away with the vote, 52%. Shea second there with almost 20%, and then Giannis and Tatum. Surprised at all from these results, TK? You know, especially when you consider Jokic missing a little bit of time there for personal reasons.
That's the only surprise, because Jokic has been the best player in the league. The Nuggets have not been a great team. They don't really have much of an identity, I don't feel like right now, except for we've got the best player in the league, Nikola Jokic. However, his name is in italics on the Basketball Reference MVP tracker, which means he's not currently on pace to play 65 games. So my take is kind of the same as it was when we did this for 1 month in. He's the MVP. As long as he gets to 65 games at the end of the season, he should win it. But he's not winning it from me right now. I'm giving this one to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Since the Bucks started 2-8, Giannis is putting up 35 points per game on 61% field goal shooting, 11 rebounds, 8 assists per game, and 2.1 stocks as the Bucks have gone 8-1. So I got Giannis right now. I think he's the most impactful defensive player of these 4 guys, and he's really bringing it offensively as well, leading the league in scoring as the best scorer in the league. He never misses shots.
It is great to mention Giannis Antetokounmpo as the MVP and those numbers and what he's doing defensively, as you said there. I mean, those are real efforts that he's making to be able to recover in what he's doing defensively. So, yeah, right here, right now, because I'm living in the moment, I also had Giannis. But they're going to have to climb way higher in the Eastern Conference standings for him to actually win it. because they're a near 500 team. So it's going to be tough. That being said, I think it might come down to him or Jokic. They have to, that's a lot of pressure though on Jokic now because they have to win games too. I mean, they're close to 500.
They're ninth.
Yeah.
So that's a struggle for them. And there's no guarantees that they're going to win without Aaron Gordon there to help him out. So that's tough. That's tough for him. Tatum, I mean, it could be the year. It could be the year where he gets higher than 4th. That's the highest he's ever been voted. That could happen here. It could be the year he's 3rd in voting. But they're going to have to get the 1 seed back, I think, for him to have any shot. And I mean the 1 seed back from the Cavs. But this is a good race in that Shea and potentially Luka, they're going to be part of this. I mean, Shea, I think, can make a better case if they start to win without Chet Holmgren there, win some more games. That makes it even more legitimate. This is a real race.
Yeah. To me, this was a poll where no matter how you voted, good vote. Like it's fair.
Nice
like
vote.
You can make a case for all 4 of those guys. We're talking right now. And like, how can you say like Shea hasn't played at an MVP level again, or Tatum hasn't done the same, or what Giannis has done recently, and then Jokic, of course, still the front runner. Yeah, maybe dropped a bit in some eyes because of missing games and them struggling. We do have to bring that up in terms of like finishing off some of these games, but I mean, he's still Jokic. He's still the best player in the world when he's out there. So yeah, I guess more. I thought I'd get more pushback. Like, how did you not include so-and-so? Who's that fill in the blank there, Trey, if you had to at least pretend mad that we didn't have this person's name on the MVP at the quarter mark of the season?
Who would I put in there that's not in there right now?
Let's say we took out Jokic because he's not technically on pace to play 65 games like you said. So let's just take him out just for the sake of argument. Who would get that 4th spot?
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay. Fair. Great season. Best team in the league. He's
Fourth
their
quarter
leader.
takeover.
Yep. Who would you go?
Just Luka to start some fights. I know he hasn't been incredible. I mean, he's been freaking incredible, but he hasn't been himself. But I do think that all the teams in the Western Conference kind of get a little bit of love just because all those teams are above 500. I mean, I know that the Denver Nuggets are sitting only 2 games above 500 and are 9th, but I think it helps all of those guys, including Luka, because they're all just so damn good. I mean, they're all really good. So I don't think it really. I think that's what will push one of these guys, a little bit more, even if they finish 7th, 8th, 9th. I don't think it really matters as much as it usually does in terms of standings.
I cannot see a team or a player on a team that finishes in the play-in tournament win MVP.
No.
That'd be ridiculous.
No, probably not.
Yeah. I think I would make a case right now for Karl Anthony Towns. He's been amazing. It's like, I feel like it's gone overlooked what he's doing and how well he's slotted in there. He's averaging 25 and 13 right now for the Knicks. And, they're 12 and 8. Like, I think if that record's 14 and 6 or, 15 and 5, like a couple more wins there, I think it's like, woo, yeah, he's probably on this MVP poll. But just being 12 and 8, despite being a better record than Giannis, so I got to point that out. But he's been awesome. Catman do. He still got it.
You know what's awesome is that we don't know why Jokic was away for personal reasons. There was rumors he was having a second child.
Right.
But nobody knows. And I think Nikola Jokic is just awesome at keeping things private. He's just good at it.
Tending to the horses?
Who knows? He's just good at keeping people out of his business. And I think it's interesting that this team, has not been getting a lot of pub recently because he's been gone, so they just stink. But I imagine he's just going to help him win. I imagine he's going to play way more than 65 games.
Oh, he probably will.
He's just missed a ton at the start of the season. He's missed a quarter of the team's games.
Right.
He's missed 3, right?
He's missed like 5, I think.
I think Luka's in the same boat here, right? Now having missed some games. Like, technically is maybe
15,
like
18.
sub-pace for
Luka missed, 6 games recently?
So
Jokic missed 3, like you said.
They're probably going to play it, yeah. All right, next poll here. Besides MVP, what's the most interesting NBA award race? The 4 options: Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, Rookie of the Year, or Sixth Man. And I will say this was one of our closest votes here. Rookie of the Year takes it with about 31% of the vote, but then we had a tie with Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved, 27.3%, and then Sixth Man coming in there sub 15%. You think this is right, TK? What is the most interesting NBA award race to you besides MVP?
I voted Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
We've had 4 winners so far. Zach Edey, Zach Ricochet, Dalton Connect, and current winner Jared McCain, who had 7 straight 20-point games, yelled, "I'm the Rookie of the Year." But I don't think he's locked in at all right now. He's coming off the bench now, or at least in the last game that the Sixers played. Who knows if he stays on the bench or if they decide to try the Maxey McCain backcourt. Kind of small for defending, but it seems like there's an opportunity for somebody to at least get in the mix, finish in a top 5 vote with the rest of the Rookie of the Year candidates. But I've been impressed with this rookie class. Not a lot of hype coming in. I think we've seen a lot of flashes from guys in the top 10, even further down, like Jared McCain. I love watching this guy play. I love watching his TikToks. I was just going through TikTok. It's amazing that this guy's playing in the NBA, and then we'll just go and record a video about walking through the snow in Detroit. Just
saw
happy.
that one.
Yeah,
I did see that one.
That's current, man. That's current. I think that's amazing. He's a breath of fresh air. The best thing that's happening to the 76ers.
On TikTok.
But I don't
Period.
think. Yep. I don't know. I was watching some great stuff on TikTok last night. Some weird pants stuff.
Go on.
Wisdom K is the name of this model that I like following.
It's all pants?
Well, he's got a great collection of pants. I watched one last night. Some people are saying you can't wear Converse All-Stars anymore. And he said, "Are you serious? You can't wear Converse All-Stars?" And look at my feet, my friends.
Oh, wow.
I had to pull out a pair of Converse All-Stars for the first time this season. Nearly broke the leg lamp.
Yeah.
But there's good stuff happening on TikTok occasionally, including Jared McCain, your current Rookie of the Year. But I do think somebody could still take it off of him.
I agree with that. And I haven't been following Jared McCain on TikTok. I thought all those TikTok videos were old that come out of his on other social media platforms where he's dancing. I thought he was just a dancing TikTok man, but apparently he updates people on the weather. He's a meteorologist. Here it's snowing in Detroit. Anyways, there's definitely good stuff on TikTok. You just got to know where to look. Somebody's got to publish those. Put some TikTok videos out about the Rookie of the Year race because it's damn good. I mean, I think I've been at the beginning of the season, like everybody, who's going to be Rookie of the Year? There's been a lot of as you said, not a lot of hype.
It was open coming into the season.
Yeah,
big time, which is rare because it's usually like, well, it'll be one of the top 3 picks, but that wasn't the case with Ricochet and Sarr and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did not know a lot about Zachary Ricochet here in North America, following him. So I actually mentioned Frank Mason, former Milwaukee Buck Frank Mason, who is now playing in Europe, and what he tweeted. He said, "Zachary Ricochet is the #1 pick. He doesn't deserve it." I regret even mentioning that tweet because Ricochet, worth it. He's a kid. He seems to have it all together for a 19-year-old to be doing, as we talked about, willing to do the little things, put the ball on the floor, play for 48 minutes, not be the star on his team whatsoever. Already jumped into the starting lineup pretty early in his career. But yeah, this race is pretty fun. It's wide open. I think Most Improved is also very, very interesting because I think it'll go to somebody the voters will believe has improved the most, and it'll be less about the stats. I think it'll be that type of winner. I know Franz Wagner has jumped into the leader in terms of odds, but there's a bunch of Jalen's, like a Jalen Williams, a Jalen Johnson. There's a Dyson Daniels push a little bit for Most Improved. So it's fun. I think that one's a fun one too.
It's going to be Franz Wagner or Jalen Williams winning Most Improved. Unless barring injury. I mean, Jalen Johnson's been a great. We just talked about him, how much he's impressed me with the 20 and 10 and 5 and stuff like that. But I don't think he's going to be flirting with an all-star selection, and it feels like it's just part of the equation now. Mm-hmm. You got to make the jump, make an all-star team, maybe flirting around the outskirts of an all-NBA selection, and obviously, of course, improve as a player. And those two guys, Franz and J-Dub on OKC, they're 1-2 right now in terms of odds. As for Rookie of the Year,
those guys have both been great since their teammates that got injured.
Yeah,
Banchero and Chet Holmgren. So the numbers keep up.
That to me is like even more of a tick for your Most Improved. It's like,
hey man, it's all about the story. I love it.
Well, it's also just not easy to do. Like sometimes we're like, oh, that team's screwed. They lose their star player, their All NBA guy, and it's like, whoa, wow, that guy actually can slot into that role, at least for a month or two. Or
Yeah.
That's
Makes
not
the
easy to
story
do to
better.
level up in the NBA. As for Rookie of the Year, Jared McCain is your favorite right now. He was off the board when we started this whole thing in the preseason. He's minus 160. Connect second. Castle third at plus 700. Yeah,
He's been pretty good.
He's definitely
Yeah.
sort of improved as the season went on. And then we said Payton Pritchard when we were talking about them blowing out the Heat. He's your favorite at minus 250 for sixth man of the year. Amen Thompson, though, has sort of jumped up in the rankings. He went from like 14th odds to now second best odds. He's 9-1 on BetMGM. You've had like Buddy Hield and Naz Reid slipping a little bit. But DeAndre Hunter is on there, Tess. Now at plus 2,500.
Jumped on.
He had to because he wasn't a sixth man.
That's right. Yeah.
So he's in the mix now. And then Defensive Player of the Year, I was actually surprised it got more votes in our poll than sixth man. As interesting, I don't know. It just feels it's Wemby's really to lose. But I don't know. Could one of these crazy Rockets guys get in the mix? I don't know. Like Atari Eason or something like that. It's unlikely to me. But any thoughts on DPOY?
Nope.
Their TK? No, you hate defense.
Well, it's got to be Wemby.
You think it will, just no matter what?
I mean, they're decent enough on defense.
Yeah.
They were top 10. They're down to 13th now, but they'll probably stay between, 15 and 8 for the season or something like that. And he's leading the league in blocks easily, 3.5 per game. He's also getting a steal and a half per game. Like, the dude's a game record defensively and the scariest guy on the inside.
Yeah, my question for this award is, does it become less and less of a top team award and more of a player award?
Right.
Because, it's always gone to at the very least, top 5 defense. So if it is a middle-of-the-pack defense like the Spurs, the defense going changed. I mean, that really will have changed and into who they give it to. And, yeah, I'm, interested into if it gets pushed out to more of a perimeter player rather than a big player at some point. I know we see them from time to time. And Marcus Smart has won it.
Kawhi.
But Kawhi, a monster. Where are you, Kawhi? Where are you, man? Come on back.
Final one in our Check the Polls segment. We put it like such. Forget the mini tournament idea that Silver's pitching here at All-Star Weekend. What's the best idea to fix the NBA All-Star Game, to save it? And we gave you 4 options. Raise incentives, Team USA versus the world, finals home court advantage to the winning conference, taking a page out of the old MLB back in the day, or just straight up cancel it. And winning the vote, 34.7%. It is Team USA versus the world. How do you feel about that, Trey? Did you vote with the people on this one, or did you go another direction?
I did not vote with the people. I voted the complete opposite of the people here. Money, 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 money.
Money,
That's
money.
the only thing that's going to change it. And I'm surprised that it got the fewest votes. I think people are being a little optimistic about this one. The only reason the in-season tournament is working and that people are caring about winning it is that they get $500,000 at the end. You heard Jalen Brunson say it. You heard Josh Hart say it. You heard LeBron say it last year. And now that he's out of it, he's like, the tournament sucks. Because he knows he ain't going to win any money. And nothing else makes sense to me. Pay him all $500,000. We get a sponsor on the horn for $6 million. You might have a decent game. Everything else is honestly kind of silly to me. 26% of people would rather not see an All-Star game than pay these guys more money to play a mercenary exhibition game.
I mean, the difference with the in-season tournament, though, and the payday is like, it is still part of the regular season outside of the very last game. In terms of counting to your win-loss column, where, of course, an All-Star game doesn't at all. Bit of a difference, I guess you could say. It feels like a lot of the times they are trying to win these huge bonuses in the NBA Cup for the guys that don't make your 40, 50, 60 million dollars a year like most of the All-Stars do. So there's some differences, but
That's not what Josh Hart said.
hey, look,
He
I'm
says,
just
I
saying.
want to buy a new AP.
Okay.
There's a beautiful new watch out there, and I need $500K to blow on it.
Okay. Well, then the Knicks got to beat the Magic tonight to hopefully help that. But what did you think?
What's going on with his salary? He doesn't have the $500K. I would imagine that.
He does have the
He can
$500K, guys.
afford it, but
They
you
have
don't-
the money.
But you don't have to worry about it if you get it. You could just go buy it at night.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You
Yeah.
just buy it tonight.
Listen, Mike and Ike's is paying Josh Hart enough. I don't know how much they're paying him, but I imagine they're paying him a little bit. I mean, he's got a pretty valuable contract. It's a decent contract. Good signing by the Knicks. 18, 19 mil. That's good.
Yeah, you can afford to watch, guys. Yeah.
I'm not concerned. The other thing about the NBA Cup and the in-season tournament in general, I mean, it incentivizes just playing during the regular season a little bit. And that's why the finals home court advantage, it just diminishes any sort of value for the regular season. Like, come on, that ain't going to happen. The USA versus World, we saw it, I mean, not too long ago on All-Star Weekend. It didn't really help things. So I doubt it's that. We just need a little effort. So just need some effort. And I don't think USA versus World is doing it. I'm not sure raising the incentives is really going to do it. I mean, yes, if you tell a guy it's $500K, I mean, they're also playing for their teammates. And in terms of currently the NBA Cup, and they're playing for their teammates, like everybody gets $500K. Yeah. As an all-star, it's a little bit different. These guys are all usually $30, $40, $50 million per year. So I think it's a little different. But anyway, money matters, obviously. Yeah,
money matters. But I'm with you on that. But take money away from the losing team. That's how we make it competitive. Put some money on the line in the actual game between both sides here. Then we've got something. This is never going to happen, of course. But I also love the incentives. We talked about like vacation time and stuff like that. What everybody wants in the world. Make that the stakes. I knew Team USA versus the world was going to win this because anytime we talk about the All-Star game and fixes, there are millions of comments about just go Team USA versus world. Just go Team USA versus world. It always comes up. So I had a feeling it would get the most votes, but it was maybe a little closer overall. Do you have opinions on the finals home court advantage to the winning conference? Whereas, that then conference would get it if they make it all the way to the end?
I think it's silly. Like Tass said, the MLB tried it and they're like, this is stupid. We're not doing it anymore. Does Victor Wembanyama care about getting finals home court advantage when he's just trying to make the playoffs? Right? It just that incentive doesn't make any sense to me. Why would somebody care about who has home court?
How long did it last
in
in baseball? They
I don't know.
did it a couple of years, obviously, and then they were who cares? No, they're not playing harder or anything. Why are we doing this? So, there it is. Let's check the polls. Thanks everybody for voting in those. That's a fun segment. We'll have to bring that back sooner rather than later. Okay, tonight's Pick'em game, Tass. Where are we going, man? It's the final night for NBA Cup action group play.
It's a very nice schedule tonight. 11 games sked. Yes, NBA Cup matters. Just some great teams playing, and it was easy for me to look at. Yeah, there's good ones, but I like the Grizzlies at the Mavs. 14-7 versus 13-8. 2 top 7 offenses, 2 top 9 defenses. The Mavs learned who they were. Were you popping champagne for the NBA?
No, I was trying to get the lid off this whipped cream. Guys, dare I say it? I found a bit of a groove right now.
You're flying today.
I'm doing well here. Sorry to interrupt you, Tass.
No, I interrupted myself. I heard there was champagne.
You're past the halfway point easily.
Oh, yeah. We're doing pretty good today. Mm-hmm. I think maybe taking out the middle was the move yesterday.
Yeah,
divide and conquer.
It kind of does, yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways, the Mavs, they played well without Luka. They're 4-1 without him, but he's back, baby. The Grizzlies have won 6 in a row. They play fast. They got 8 guys who score in double digits. It's just a good matchup. If we want to get into the NBA Cup part of things, Dallas can clinch a wild card spot if they win, and they win the tiebreaker. Memphis needs win and lots of help.
Oh, they ain't getting in. I was surprised I was the only one that took the Mavs here because of the Cup ramifications.
So you think it's
all
what do I
know? What do I know? I'm eating a goddamn giant pumpkin pie all week, so don't take any of my advice.
Yeah, you've got the Mavs to win by 5 or more, while myself, Trey, and Esh just have to have the Grizzlies lose by 4 or less. That's why, this is a great team, period. They won 6 in a row, so they just got to keep it close.
That should be a sweet game. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one.
Let me take you through a couple other important games tonight just quickly because it is the final night for NBA Cup group action. In the East, the big games are Magic Knicks. So whoever wins that, they're through. And then same with the Bucks Pistons. So both those games win and you're in to the quarterfinals. For the Celtics to get the East wildcard spot, they need Detroit by at least 5 points. Or Detroit to lose by at least 5 points, or the Bucks to lose by at least 6 points in regulation. So that's what Celtics fans are looking at. That game, a blowout, sort of, one way or the other, because that will help their chances. Now, Yeah, I guess the Knicks could beat the Magic by like 45 points tonight or 50 points, and maybe the Celtics could backdoor their way in, but you know that's not happening. So that's important. And then in West Group B, OKC clinches the group with a win and a Spurs loss. The Suns clinch the group with a win and a Thunder loss, and the Spurs clinch the group with a win. So they control their own destiny here, but they have to win in Phoenix. So that's sort of like that convoluted group out in the West. Exciting.
Very exciting. Go Pistons.
Oh, man.
I would like to see them get in.
The East could be hilarious, I was thinking.
Pistons-Hawks.
if let's say the Bucks, beat the Pistons by only 3 points or something, right? Or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. It's a close game. We would have in the East the Hawks, obviously, already having won their group. We would have the Pistons and the Bucks, and then the Magic, let's say.
Wow.
Orlando, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Detroit could be our 4 teams in the Eastern Conference.
We're getting good seats. Good seats for these games.
A little different in the West, of course, but that could happen. That could happen. So those are tonight's games. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Really appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. Back tomorrow to break down the NBA Cup group play final results. Are we going to start on tomorrow's show, like looking ahead to matchups, breaking them down? We're going to know who's playing who.
A little bit, yeah.
I think we do. Got to start talking that out. So we'll do that on tomorrow's show, live at 10 a.m. Eastern. Man, I almost burped again. Right at the end, I get gassy. It almost popped out.
Keep it down for an hour. That's it.
All right. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, the home team in a basketball game doesn't wear white anymore. That's another reason I'm taking the Mavs. They're playing in blues on their blue court. Grizzlies are wearing white. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you're watching... what is that? 2/3 of a pie is gone. I mean, that's
Not bad. Some serious progress.
yeah. It's not gonna take you all week.
It's gonna take me all week to swallow there, man. I put a lot in
goal.
there. We'll find out. Yeah, I'd love to be done this pie by Thursday. We have a guest coming on. It's rude to eat in front of other people. Race the day, people.